Thanks so much for joining me on the podcast. How are you here today? Ooh, how are you here today? That's how I should say it.
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you here. Let's dive right in. So first off, tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll talk about Gather AI.
Sounds good. I'm a co-founder CEO of Gather AI. We have been at it for 6 years, and we do what our name says, which is gathering data using AI. Before this, the company was founded and spun out of Carnegie Mellon University. And the three founders, Daniel, Gitesh, and myself, were doing our PhDs in robotics there. And it's a little bit of a story. I got the chance to work on the world's first fully autonomous helicopter, which was, as a kid growing up in Delhi and dreaming of working on robots, was a dream come true. I was standing in this field in Quantico, FBI training grounds. This helicopter's coming in, avoids a bunch of trees, avoids hay bales, and lands itself in the middle of a snow. 5-star army generals behind me. It's just insane. We won a few national awards for the work we did there for Department of Defense. But what's stayed with me is that helicopter had covered 10 kilometers path length in under 3 minutes and built a beautiful 3D map of the environment. It stayed with me how these things are, the robots are amazing data gathering machines, and dedicated my PhD on how to make robots curious. And that from therein, basically the concept of Gather AI came in, which is how do we make robots curious in the outside of the defense world? They used to be curious about landing zones, about openings in buildings. Now they're curious about boxes and barcodes.
I like that phrase, making robots curious, though, in general. Okay, so thank you for that breakdown of kind of how things started. And let's talk a little bit about where things currently stand today and where they're heading.
Broadly for the industry or for us?
For you, and then let's go and talk about your place in the industry.
I see. For us, I think it's a matter of pride as a co-inventor of the tech that our customers rely on our technology to run their operations every day. Our drones are doing thousands of flights every week in warehouses, taking inventory. And we serve some of the largest names in the industry. Few I can name, few I can't. The ones I can name that people listening to this who are in logistics space might recognize are Geodis, NFI, DSV, to name a few.
What challenges do you foresee still existing, or that do still exist today that you're trying to navigate? You don't have to give us all of them, but is there something top of mind that you're constantly thinking about?
Automation over the course of last 2 decades has made a lot of promises, and a few of them have panned out. I mean, both Jared, you and I have been waiting for autonomous cars to be a part of our daily lives. It's getting there. It's not yet there. It's been getting there for the last 20 years. It's the same in automation space in warehouses and businesses where people had invested into it. And sometimes when results are not there, have lost trust. What has happened over the course of last 20 years as technology has evolved, where now automation is delivering. And the challenge to people like us is to earn the trust back that has been burned from the industry. And it's seemingly now, as people use AI in more of their lives than outside of work, people are now willing to make that leap again. But I think for anyone who's in my position and who's in running an automation company, it's the challenge is to earn that trust back again.
It's funny you mentioned the autonomous cars. And this is the space where I feel like in all of these areas, we're very far along actually at this point. It's just so much is still public perception, which is interesting, right? Because in some cases, I think if you polled a lot of people, they probably trust a robot or computer a lot more than even a human. Like the Ubers I've been in, I would trust the autonomous car way more than who's driving me, right? It's could the autonomous car miss the airport? maybe, but more than likely, it's going to know that this is the drop off spot and get me to that point. Yeah, so I would like to see. I know they're. I think Waymo is launching in a bunch like more
Yes.
cities, right? I've yet to take a ride in one. I do want to do that. That's probably something I'll do this year. Um, but as it relates to your space, do you have that? Do you have that same blocker, that like the public perception, these leaders that you're uh, selling to? Do you feel that's still on their mind? Like anything
Yeah,
regarding like not a lack of trust in technology, but like I don't know, a hesitance.
there's a hesitance, of course, because it's a new process. I think any new process needs the leaders are responsible in being hesitant towards it. Uh, and I think what's happening is as people see more and more proof points, they open up. And there are some people who have a burning enough problem that will look for a solution, even if proof points are not there, where we were 6 years ago, where we were just starting off, we are not deployed anywhere. So early adopters adopted us, and basically now we have established proof points that other people can look at and gain trust. But that trust barrier has to be crossed. So there is that hesitance always there. And you'll see the same thing happen with humanoids, actually. There is so much excitement in humanoids right now, and how they're going to change how we work, and they will change how we work. But they'll also follow a similar trajectory to autonomous cars, where the promise will take some time to deliver.
So you mean when they say a really early date, that's not going to happen? Uh,
You know it's not going to
I mean, we've
happen.
heard autonomous cars. I've heard this is the year for the last 5 years, I think, that it would be mainstream, right? Um, I don't know. The robots. All I know is ever since all these announcements of the robots start coming out, I get recommended iRobot every single time I turn on one of these shows. So I don't know what they're trying to do here, but it's super interesting. And then they showed like from CES, there were a lot of robots out there as part of the innovation. It'll be interesting. There's some stuff though, like silly, like eyes on the robots or something like that, like a virtual eye. I mean, we have so many smart people that are building things though that like, come on. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I think some people have fun with it, and some
yeah.
people ride the wave of gimmicks. But that's okay. As you said, there's so many smart people that are working on it, and I firmly believe now we have the technology to actually solve the problems that have been keeping humanoids in the labs. It's just now maturing and industrializing and productizing that technology. That will take some time and some effort.
So for someone that you'll work with, like, what does that ideal profile look like? And then what maybe feedback have you received? How do you take that feedback and then reiterate as well?
The two sectors that we serve really well, or the three sectors that we serve really well, is retail and e-com, third-party logistics companies that are basically shipping an omni-channel, which is you're serving to retail stores as well as direct to consumer. And then lastly, manufacturing, if you want to avoid line downs and things like that. Supply chain, especially warehousing operations, are fairly late in getting their share of innovation within, because it's physical AI, so as to say, and physical AI has always been harder. As a result, we get a lot of joy after that initial skepticism of does it really work, to people saying that, I have a 10-month-old daughter and I was doing overtime every day. Now I don't need to do that. Or I was scared of heights, but my job involved me getting on forklifts. Now I can just send your drone there. And VP supply chain is saying that, last year you found me $2 million worth of inventory per facility. And that actually helped me make more orders. And I'm making 2% more orders every day. So that's been the sort of, again, real joy of it as an inventor to have that impact. The most common positive feedback we get is that we have designed the system. If you can use a smartphone, you can use our system and it's autonomous. So you get a lot of positive feedback on user experience, to the extent now visually impaired people can use our product for counting, which they've never been able to do. The most common feature request that we get is, can I do more with the data you collect? Because we now have real time visibility into what these warehouses and how they're operating, and we have thus far stayed away from suggesting how people can improve their operations. But that is something that we are now hearing our customers and providing them suggestions starting this year.
Interesting. So when you get that feedback, how do you decide what gets added to roadmap, where adjustments are made, and what gets maybe shelved?
Feedback that we get from the user is sometimes equivalent to, oh, put googly eyes on my drone. And that obviously gets shelved because it's not really solving a real problem. But some feedback customers would say, this is, if you do this, it solves a big business problem for me. And as soon as there's a big business problem to be solved and enough number of customers that are saying the same thing, then it is worth understanding how we can solve it. And if we are the best team in the world to solve it. If those two intersections come and happen, then we know we can put it on our roadmap.
What's like, let's look at this year ahead. Obviously we're excited. Human X conferences this year. So would love to hear what you're looking forward to most from that event, but then also what's kind of on your radar regarding AI throughout the rest of the year. Like, what are you hoping to hear? What are you looking for?
Ooh, I can keep going about this topic. So, first of all, for Human X, I'm just excited for the community. I'm someone who really believes that AI will positively impact our lives. And there's so many people there who will be AI practitioners from different walks, and there'll be so much to learn. That community. So I'm looking forward to learn within the conference and then build a community that I can keep learning with as we go forward, more than anything else. There's a little bit of a part of, I'll also share my experiences and what we have done, but just super excited about all the learning that's going to happen in a condensed period of time. Because I don't think an event like that exists today, which is about applied AI across such a broad scope. Because the field is so new that ideas have such a capability to transplant from one field, one domain to another.
Yeah, it was more around what areas of AI do you think will have impact, like true impact this year?
I think you'll see making digital products becoming significantly easier because you have AI coders. So I think that will data analysis and how we do data analysis will change, where most of the data analysis, instead of doing or talking to your data in SQL or technical languages, you can talk to your data in natural languages. And that is already happening, but then that means insights from data will be all pervasive, and you won't have to go through a programmer or a coder to go towards data. And lastly, especially with O1 and what O3 has done to the benchmarks for AGI, we will see the type of questions you can ask to these large language models or thinking large language models will become more and more sophisticated, and they'll be able to solve more and more sophisticated problems with you. That needs multi-step plan.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think after going to Human X, it'll also shed a lot of light from so many experts, right? In terms of what they're thinking. We're probably going to all be, in a good way, overloaded with information over those days, which will be awesome. It'll create a lot of terrific conversations, and look forward to catching up with you in person. But thank you so much for spending some time here with us today, telling us what you were doing, your thoughts on AI, and where you think the space is heading.
Oh, it has been a pleasure, Jared, and hope you feel well.